Hello, everybody. Hope all is well with you. I am Demetra K, obviously of the Demetra K Show, here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Saadiq, also known as the Black Yulbrenner. He got a triple OG shirt on. Y'all should also find Donovan on Facebook and on YouTube. I put his information in the description box always. Donovan is always talking about something good. So please make sure that you all follow him. Again, the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we're great people, but we can always strive to do better. I'd like to say a big giant thank you, hello, and welcome to YouTube and Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. Also, to my moderators, thank you for the wonderful job that you do in holding down the comment section. So today we're going to be talking about a disrespectful Arab store owner saying that the Black community can't shut them down. What you talking about, right? So, of course, we're going to have a great conversation about that. And, of course, what we as our Black Americans in our communities need to do, with our money and just everything. So we're going to have a great conversation. Donovan, and I'll say hello to everybody in just a second. What say you?
Hey, I agree with everything you just said. Yes, everybody, I'm aware we will have another long year of America going down the toilet. The Dallas Cowboys will not make the playoffs. They whiffed. I mean, they had so many opportunities, but, as a Cowboy fan, I have conditioned myself to fall off the cliff toward the end of the season. It just doesn't matter. So anyway, welcome to the Demetra K Show. It is 3 p.m. here. If it's 3 p.m. here, that means it's time for Demetra K. We want to thank you guys for joining us this evening to have this great discussion, because as we all know, when these Arabs and people of different nationalities come into America off the backs of our hard work, blood, sweat, and death, they set up their shops and their things in our neighborhood, and they think that we don't need them, but they're going to learn they're going to need us, and this is going to be a great topic. But before we get into that, you guys see a scrolling banner at the bottom there. There's ways you can continue to donate to the Demetra K Show, keep us Demetra motivated and the content creators motivated. You can do it by Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, money order, cash, and all that other great stuff. 4 more days till Christmas, and if you are into the holiday spirit, one of the great gifts to give somebody is the gift of knowledge. The African Diaspora News Channel app, you can get it at Google Play, Apple Store. And where else can you get, outside of what you see on your regular algorithm on YouTube, the Demetra K? You also get the Emancipation Channel, and you get videos that you don't necessarily see exclusive to the app. So if you guys are interested, please go out and download the African Diaspora News Channel app. You can sign up here on YouTube itself and do that. It is a great Christmas gift. It is a great birthday gift. It is a great graduation gift, because once you have the knowledge, then that also means you have the power. So let's get into it. Let's talk about this ridiculous thing. These people that come, Demetra, these people that come to this country, they come here and they don't want to assimilate into the culture, and they think they're back home. Well, if you've got the mentality of being where you're from, go back there. And I want you guys to think about this too. Have you guys noticed that when American expats go to other countries, it is very rare that American expats give up their citizenship when we live in other countries? But notice that these people come here for the love of their country. Oh, they're Dominican. Oh, they're this. Oh, they're that. But they're quick to try to get U.S. citizenship, if not for them, for their children. Makes you think, doesn't it? Let's get into it.
And once again, hello to everybody. Brother Todd, what's going on with you? Y'all let that cowboy talk between y'all there. Jay Bubba, how you doing? Lily, what's going on with you? Okay, so for the sake of time, let's go ahead and get into it. Whew, there's a lot going on, I will tell you that. But I saw this particular video of a brother in St. Petersburg, Florida, a store. It seems like maybe in the Black community, is an Arab. And they had a very quick but very interesting conversation. So I'll let you guys hear it, and I'll maybe repeat it again because it is so short, and then we'll get into it. But here is the video.
Bro. We got 9 stores around there,
so
and we
you
got
saying,
11 stores in Tampa.
So you saying we can't close y'all down? We can't stop y'all?
For $3.49 you can't pay?
No.
For $3.49 you can't pay? You can close me down?
I got you.
Shit, record me more, boy. I'll be in Tampa too.
Yeah,
so I'm going to play it one more time. So just make sure, then I'll tell you what the deal was.
You said it again, bro?
We got 9 stores around there,
So
and we
you
got
saying-
11 stores in Tampa.
So you saying we can't close y'all down? We can't
Shit,
stop
for
y'all?
what? For $3.49
No,
you can't pay?
no.
For $3.49 you can't pay? You gonna close me down?
I got you.
Shit,
Hey, listen.
record me more, boy. I be
got
in
you.
Tampa too.
Hey, I got
Okay, so the point of contention was, and it says on the bottom there, this has to stop draining our black neighborhoods. $3.49 for a gallon of water. That's only $1.89 in Walmart. They have been doubling up on us now. It's time to double down on them. Take our hoods back. It says 727 Food Market, 3095 22nd Street or Avenue rather. So in St. Petersburg, Florida, whatever it is. So basically, sounds like they charging double for a gallon of water. And of course, we know that water in Walmart or Kroger even does not cost $2.50 for a gallon of water. So he's basically saying to the guy, you don't think we'll shut you down. And he's basically like, nah, I got one in Miami too. What you gonna do about it, right? Now, of course, as Donovan alluded to earlier, this is nothing new. Immigrants, depending on where they're from, they move into our neighborhoods, open up shop, give us bad treatment. They sell us things that they don't consume, right? And of course, they jack up the prices. Their attitudes are bad with us. Their attitude is like that. What you gonna do? I got another one somewhere else, and I bet you gonna be up in there too, right? Now, of course, I've seen a lot of people say, well, we need to stop going in there. I think that's kind of the obvious, but for whatever reason, we don't, even to the point of that particular store owner's like, man, shut up, right? Get this water and pay $2.50 for it and shut up. I see you tomorrow. You know why? Because I always see you tomorrow. You ain't gonna never do nothing about it. But I put together a compilation of videos for some pretty heavy hitters that have been, saying the same old things that we have been saying in our community. So it's about 3 minutes long, but I think that you will enjoy it. And of course, I'll get back into the comments section. So here we go.
Spent 3 months crossing perilous oceans to get to the United States looking for happiness. They came here to get handouts, to get free benefits. See, understand this, Rock, and I want your audience to understand it too. 99% of all the black people in America are the direct descendants of slaves, which means they were here before 99% of all the other people arrived. All these people are coming to this country boasting about, my family came from Germany, my parents came from Ireland, my parents came from Greece or Italy. They came here for a specific reason, to get benefits. They get unearned benefits, to profit and enjoy the fruits of black folks' labor and the Indian land. They've already gotten theirs. And now what they're saying is that now that we've gotten everything, we got control of it, we got it free and passed it from generation to next generation, we're not going to let you have anything. And see, that's grossly unfair and it's immoral. And the worst thing that our society is doing, and they should cease in doing it, is they start equating black folk to all these fabricated groups, like minorities and poor folk and people of color and Asians and Hispanics coming into the country. These people coming to this country today get unearned benefits to enjoy the fruits of black folks' labor. Nobody shut them down. The Chinese started pouring into California after the Civil War to get benefits. And the Mexicans, there were no, in the Civil War, you had about 6,000 Hispanics in the United States. And now you got about almost 50-something million. They came here looking for benefits.
I heard Jesse Jackson say one day that, all other groups came here seeking a thrill.
That's why they came.
Black folks came here, obviously.
That's right.
Don't tell me we don't have money. That's crap. Excuse my expression. Crap. Now look at this.
Bull crap at that.
Well, thank you, sir. $1.1 trillion comes through black hands.
That's right.
This year. So don't say we don't have money. We don't have unity. Right. And if we had unity and pooled our money, then we could begin to take control of where we live. If we don't have money, why are the Arabs here? If we don't have money, why are the Koreans here? If we don't have money, why is every immigrant that comes to America find their way into the black community to build their empire, their American dream on the black nightmare? So we have got to change that reality.
Right now, do you know we brought in $1.3 trillion last year as a people? Out of 226 nations on the earth, that makes black people in America the 8th richest nation. We brought in $600 billion more than Spain, $700 billion more than Mexico. Yes, Spain has 46 million people like we do, and they maintain a 208,000 square mile landmass, and they have their own everything. Mexico has 131,700,000 people, and they're maintaining 771,500 square miles with half the money we have. Yet they have whole countries, and we don't have nothing we can call our own. Something happened to us. We got to get back into what they call today financial literacy. But we got to do it quick, because we got to start doing something for ourselves. We got the dollars. We just need some more sense to go with them dollars. Absolutely. We need some more sense, because right now we the leaders in unnecessary spending. We always buying stuff we don't need with money that we don't have from people that we don't like to impress people that we don't even know. And the Negro, the black mind right now has been hardwired where happiness is connected to spending when it needs to be hardwired to investing and to saving. And if we can renegotiate the contract in the black psyche, well, happiness to spending, to investing and saving, I think we'll be able to build a bright future.
Okay. So as y'all saw there, that was my heavy hitters. Of course, that was Dr. Claude Anderson, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and Brother Nuri Muhammad, basically saying the same things that we regurgitate over and over and over again in regards to money in the black community, immigrants in the black community. And as Dr. Claude Anderson say, they come over here and they get the fruits of our labor, right? Of course, we know our labor. Let's just take the civil rights movement. Our ancestors, and some of them are still here, marched for those things, and those things were used on who? Minorities, right? It was for minorities. Well, that's what they called us, minorities, people of color, marginalized people. But everybody else in that minority dichotomy got the rights per se. Black Americans, nothing specifically, right? But again, so they come over and they set up shop. Like the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, they come in and they take our money out. He said the Arabs, the Asians, everybody else, right? If there's no money in our community, like we keep saying, oh, we ain't got no money, then why are they showing up in our communities? To get the money. And he also said it's because we have no unity. We can have these conversations until we're blue in the face about the money that we're spending, the money that we're giving away. Hey, don't do that. Again, they cited different numbers. Again, those interviews were a little dated, but it says almost $2 trillion eventually is what the black community have in spending power, but we give it away because we do not build businesses. We don't want to, right? We have some, but we really don't want to have that conversation. We know that we give 97% of that away to everybody else, and then we whine and cry, and then we whine about the politicians who will never do anything for Black Americans specifically until we do a couple of things, right? Well, we know the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said nobody in the White House is going to do anything for Black people, which is why we have to do for self. Now, with that, when we start doing for self, then that reparations conversation comes easier, just like it did for the Arabs and everybody else when they get something, because everybody else know, the politicians, they know that they're a well-oiled machine, and you will be shut down or not voted for or taken out of office if you do not do right by our community, right? But we won't do that. And no shade to this brother. I'm sure that his intentions are in the right place. I think it is admirable for him to say, hey, let's shut the store down. Look at this guy. He's thumbing his nose at us. What you gonna do? I got 2 stores and y'all ain't gonna shut one of them down. Why can't he say that? Because he knows that they and anybody else can go into our community. They can choke out Black women. They can, a broomstick everybody, and even unalive, if you will. Latasha Harlins, I'll always speak her name. They know they can do that to us. We'll get mad. We'll have conversations about, oh, well, we're going to shut them down. But then when Brother Tyrone Muhammad throw a brick through the window after they done disrespected the sister by putting their hands, they being the Asians, in those nail shops, the sisters go right back up in there and tell him, shut up. Don't tell me what to do. After this brother caught a case. So that's why that man could stand behind that counter and talk the way he talks, because he has studied, and we talk about this a lot. He has studied the nature of the Black American. They say we have what? Amnesia. We have amnesia because, yes, we see, George, Derek Chauvin with his knee to the neck of George Floyd. We go nuts. And then we allow the Black misleadership to say, don't worry, we got it from here. We're going to go and we're going to talk about some things. I sound like Maxine Waters, right? God bless her. But they going to go do something, and they didn't go do anything. We watched them. That's right. When Biden got in office, we watched them go do for everybody else but Black people, especially when Biden stood up there on that podium when he was elected and said, oh, Black Americans, you stood by me. I'm going to stand by you. That was a lie. He did everything but stand by Black Americans. We watched him bring more immigrants in here illegally, we should say, that will more than likely get a loan, and they'll get that easier, right? To open up a business in the Black community and then stand up there and say, you ain't going to shut me down. What you going to do? Lastly, we got Brother Nuri Muhammad. He says we need financial literacy. And I'm not talking about we got to go to get an MBA and a PhD. Just get some. Get some to say that if we give 97% of our money away to everybody else, that leaves what? I don't do well at math, but that leaves us 3% to try to build higher and live on. It's impossible, which is why we'll have to walk into that man's store and buy a gallon of water for $3.50 when in Walmart it's $1.89, because he's like, I got them over a barrel. I got them over a barrel because, for one, I know they're not going to organize, because for two, they're going to argue with everybody else. They're going to argue and talk about this, that, and the other. Oh, y'all stay tuned for African Diaspora News Channel tomorrow. I got a hell of a conversation for you, right? But they know that we're going to be distracted and talk about everything else besides getting them out of our neighborhood and then getting our money together and buying that store and saying that it is truly Black American owned. So until we get some financial literacy and we just get some sense, as Brother Nuri Muhammad said, we're always going to be filming. Look what they did to us today. Oh, look what they did. And those people are saying, see you tomorrow, sucker. So anyway, Donovan, what say you? And then I'm going to get into the comment section. Thank you for bearing with me.
Man, just keep on cooking. I'm impressed. You know, what I've taught you has gone, I'm just impressed from the master to the student. It's really great. No, I'm just kidding, you guys. I learned a lot from Dimitri K. But I agree with you 100% on that. By the way, I want to just remind everybody, Governor Wes Moore of Maryland, his veto was overran by the Assembly in the reparations bill that they have in Maryland. So stay tuned for that. Be watching that. Be cautious of that. But this is going to be interesting because, unlike California, their assembly overrode the governor. California didn't even bring it to the governor's desk. So stay tuned for that. I just want to say this. The reason why I think that these Arabs think that they got us over a barrel, and they know they got us over a barrel. Where are the food deserts located? In the Black neighborhoods. Where's the lack of public transportation? In the Black neighborhoods. Where are the high car loan things where a lot of people are going to be losing their vehicles? You know, a lot of ladies, a lot of folks that are paying $1,000 a month for a Chevy Malibu, things like that. You know, you're stuck in a neighborhood, right? You're just stuck. I mean, they've got you over a barrel. This has been going on for a long time. And Dimitri, for the last 8 years, we have been in the wilderness sounding the alarm and letting people know, hey, look, they are putting us in a trick bag. Economically, they are gentrifying us out of our neighborhoods physically, and politically, they are silencing our voices to where we don't, no matter how much money we have, if you don't have the money to buy political candidates, you have no say-so in what goes on in this country. What's going on in Somalia, the Somalia West up in Minnesota. $9 billion was stolen of taxpayer money. How did they do it? It is alleged through political transformation and all kinds of stuff, and nothing happened. $9 billion in that community alone. This is happening all over the country where these immigrants have set up shop. They are taking tax dollars, like the video said, like Dr. Claude Anderson said, like Dimitri has said for years now, and they are coming here for the resources. Again, like I said in the beginning, how many U.S. expats go to other countries and give up their citizenship? They still love America, but they don't give up their citizenship. But we're not going over there getting resources. These people are coming here for a particular reason, to get resources and have the nerve to fly their flag as if their country is so great. If your country is so great, what are you doing here? When you come here illegally, that's not a civil violation. That's an invasion. I'm a military man. That looks like an invasion to me. And you're flying your flag on my soil? Be an American and go overseas and fly your flag and see what happens to you. Nothing's going to happen to you badly. You're just making yourself a target to be robbed. This is how it works. But again, you guys, I'm not surprised by this. We've got copious amounts of examples of how people in the neighborhood do stand up to this. But just like that brother Tyrone Muhammad in Chicago went and confronted those Asians. And the next day, those sisters were in line because the Asians put a 50% discount on wig and wear and nails. Risked his life to defend the sisters, and and we've been brainwashed. Like I said, I'm not making an excuse. I'm not like trying to single out females, but I'm talking about our community as a whole. Just like they said in the video, we are brainwashed to be consumers, and as long as we keep consuming, we will never buy anything of significance or own anything. I'll give you even a better example, personal example. All of this week, my dividends from my stock investments in the defense industry has come in. The defense bill that they just passed in the House is just a little under $1 trillion that they've compromised from the military budget. When you've got $1 trillion going to the military industrial complex, that is thievery to every child, man, woman, American citizen in the United States. But I just got a bunch of big dividend money coming in. And my point about that is this: the game is set. The game and the rules are set. You have to play the game as set by the rules. One of the things, Demetra, that I've always said, remember when Hillary and Trump were debating? And remember, I want you guys to remember, what did Trump say when Hillary called out that he wasn't paying his taxes? What did he say? He said, because I'm smart. Since 2016, has the tax code ever changed in regards to the rich not paying their taxes? Of course not, because they use those loopholes for their own benefits, which you can do yourself. I use whatever I can use it on my loophole. The point of what Claude Anderson and those guys were saying is exactly right. We have to change our narrative of how we think and start going into real ownership and investing rather than spending our money frivolously. And I'm going to say this, Demetra, and I hate to say it. We are in holiday madness, you guys. I call this time of season as holiday madness because there will be a lot of females and males that will go out here and give their kids the best Christmas they possibly can, while at the same time facing eviction or has rent due. Come January 1st, they're going to be facing eviction. I think the greatest gift you can give your kids is a roof over their head versus presents and toys. Leave it right there.
Absolutely, and well said. Let's see here. Mama T, what's good? Thank you so much for the donation. Love and appreciate you for that. Unity and strength, what's going on with you? Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Says, how do we solve our marriage problem? Us not marrying is affecting our collective wealth. We need household income and family-run businesses. All love. Yeah, I mean, I think the answer is in the question. We need to marry. We need to stop with the foolishness, the division, right? That's a part of it. Again, we learned recently, especially on X, that there's a lot of accounts from different countries that were cosplaying black women or black men, but they were from like India, Nigeria, and things like that, with the black man, the black woman hate. So we already knew that, right? And it's been that way from the beginning to keep us ununified so that our whole community can be ununified. And we know without the black family, it's just going to really be an uphill battle. So we got to start having those conversations more. Hey, let's get together and let's do something, right? Let's build this community. We're supposed to be building a nation, right? We've built nations. Why can't we build our own? We've done it before, so we could do it again. So I totally agree with you. And thank you so much. Let's see. Somebody said they won't hire our sons when they ask for jobs. They're not supposed to hire us. Right now, ideally, yes, if they're in our neighborhood, they should. But if they don't, then why are we going in there and keep giving them our money? Because they know they can say we're not hiring. No, we're not hiring. And you look in there, they got everybody that look like them, which is how group economics work, right? Us in the black community, especially black Americans, we don't have that down. We'll like have a black-owned business, but we'll have everybody else working there but us. So the Arabs, the Asians, the Hispanics, whoever set up in our neighborhood, they're doing it right. We're going to have an Arab business. We're going to have Arabs working here. And I saw another clip of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan not too long ago, and he was speaking to the Arabs that set up shop in our neighborhoods. Now, by religion and a whole host of things, they're not supposed to do what? Eat pork, drink, smoke, but what do they sell in our neighborhoods? So he was calling them to the carpet, basically saying, how are you saying that you're Muslim in a sense, but yet you are selling things to people that you aren't supposed to be doing. So what kind of Muslim are you, right? So those are the things that we also should be taking into account. And then somebody also asked, why are we at the bottom of the barrel? Is because of the aforementioned things, right? It's been a number done on us due to systemic and institutional racism. We won't have the conversations anymore that's conducive to us in our neighborhood. We talk about everything that does not benefit us. As I said, there's a lot of conversation I just refuse to get into anymore. I'll delve into them, but I'm always going to bring it back to us because it's not productive to sit up and point the finger at everybody else and what they got going on when we don't talk about the things that we need to have going on. That's why we stay at the bottom of the barrel, because we're too busy distracted. We are taking the rage bait. And I have one on an African Diaspora News channel today talking about rage bait in regards to that. And I tried to tie it in with Brother James Baldwin, right? We're too distracted. So those things keep us at the bottom. And then somebody else drew the correlation between the Black church and the stores. They should be doing grocery stores. They should be. But my question is, why are you still in there? Not you, the person who said it, but why are you still in those churches if you don't feel like they're doing anything that's helping the community? Why stay there? See, again, they know the nature of the parishioners. They know the nature of the congregation. We can tell them anything because, for one, nowadays the pastor barely crack open the Bible, and they know that you ain't gonna crack open the Bible. So they know they can tell you any and everything, and you gonna believe it because pastor said so. But the proof is in the pudding. And I was listening to De La Soul's album. It's great, by the way, their new one. And they basically said that even people don't even want the pudding to get to the proof, right? That's what we are. You don't even, if I'm giving you the pudding, where the pudding, say the proof is in the pudding, but I'm giving you the pudding, but you don't even want it to even get to the proof. Because why? What so-and-so said, or somebody white said. Well, if they didn't say it, who said that? How do we know, right? So we have to say, what part am I playing in the Black church getting all this money? And then when I walk outside of the Black church, the Black neighborhood is dilapidated. What part am I playing in that? We have to have those conversations. Let's see. Who else haven't I seen? I've seen a lot of people. I just want to make sure that I get to the bottom. Cassandra, how you doing? Miss Sweet, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. And Common Man say, yep. Salam, what's going on with his brother Salam, I should say. He went this damn cat. What's your fixation with Donovan? You might protect your cat. I think you might get kidnapped. Brother Thunder, he says, speaking of stocks, has anyone seen the price of silver? It's at an all-time high of $62. No, I haven't paid attention to that. I don't know if that's something I should, maybe. Tatilla, how you doing? He says, my feet right now look busted as hell because I refuse to go into Asian nail shops. Well, you know, you could go on YouTube and figure out how to do it. Do your own pedicures, do your own manicures. I do all of that. I do everything. I do my own hair, my nails, all of that. But you can learn how to do it. But like you said, you would rather have, I don't know if your feet look like that, but than to go into the Asian stores and have the
brother from outer space feet.
You got to go to work on Myra's feet. Hey, brother Kellen, how you doing? It says, don't buy any gifts for nobody. Be a Grinch and put it towards your mutual funds, right? And as I said the other day on the African Diaspora News channel, if you're buying gifts for your child and they ain't got no life insurance policy, stick yourself. Stick yourself. Because why are you buying something that's going to depreciate, and God forbid something happen to them, and then you're going to be talking about, listen, I got this GoFundMe, and we having a fish fry and a car wash. Okay, so we're going to need y'all to come through, and I'm going to say, no, I'm good, because I know somebody and said, hey, such and such referred me to you. They said that you may need some life insurance. You didn't got it. And then when you don't have it, and when I came there, you say, that's a bill. I'm good. I don't. So, you know, God bless you, and make sure you're able to buy enough soap to wash cars.
Yeah, and real quick, I want to share this with you guys. I know a lot of people are, you know, it's holiday madness. You want to give these great gifts for people, but let's just face it. I mean, gifts are expensive, and, you know, it's time consuming. You know, to me, time is money. So when I have to go do all that stuff, but here's my story real quick. If you need to give a gift, right? Here's what I did. I'm just going to tell you guys this. I know it's kind of out there, but I did it. I took $20, just $20, and I bought lottery tickets, the scratch off ones. Guess what? Went to a Christmas party, gave the gift to somebody. Guess how much they won? Like I said, everybody's kind of excited because, you know, you're gambling, whatever. Demetra, this person that I got the gift for won $3,000 on the scratcher. They came to me and they said, Donovan, I won $3,000. They showed me the scratcher and I was like, wow. Well, there it is. So if you're looking for something inexpensive, if you have to get people gifts, just go get 10 or 20, $20 worth of scratch off lottery tickets and just be done with it. Because you never know, that lottery ticket, like what happened to me, $3,000. Because that person in their mind now, in my mind at least, I gave them $3,000. So inexpensive and something that I think everybody could kind of afford. And people are, they're optimistic when they scratch that off. So quick story.
Did they give you some of it?
Not yet. They haven't cashed it yet.
Okay, yeah, that'd be nice. And Common Man says women's lib divided us as a community. That's part of the story. It's not the whole story. We were already divided from the before women's lib became a thing. We were divided on those plantations. Of course, women's lib are in three waves, if you will. Suffrage, in the 60s. Where women were going to find themselves type of thing. And then you have the Me Too movement. Some say that's a third wave, but yeah, we were already disjointed from the plantation. Did the women's lib movement help? No, it didn't, because if people would study history, you would know that the first wave of feminism, women's lib, they used the black man, they being white women, to get voting rights, because black men could vote, but women, no woman could vote. And a white woman is like, well, this Negro can vote. Why can't I vote? So a lot of people who think, oh, up with the woman, this, that, and the other, that white woman was down with the black man, right? She didn't care about the black woman. She, throughout history, has used black people, whether she used the black man during the first wave, she used this black woman during the second wave, and she, got a lot of black men in trouble or whatever during the third wave. So Common Man, it's a part of it, but it's not why. Does that make sense? I know, but I know what you're saying. Renwood, how you doing? Says, I brought all the stuff to do my own feet and nails. It's been well over 20 years without them folks. Yeah, I mean, is it gonna look crazy at first? Yeah, but just keep practicing. Lolo, how you doing? Says, can we get some kind of education on how to invest? I will say this, because we're not an investment show, I have to bring Walter on. None of us have any licenses or anything like that. So I say all that to say, I just don't want to give advice, because what happens is people say, you told me, and all of that. So Walter will be coming back on in the new year and all of that, but we'll get back to that, because I know a lot of people found value in the advice that Walter gave. So stay tuned for that. Common Masters religion divided the black community. It helped. Mr. South Carolina, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let's see who else is on here. Carlette, what's going on? He says, hello, Demetra, and Donovan, everybody. Yes, indeed. Cultural media television said it's an invasion. Yeah, but guess what? We kind of helped them do that, right? The way we voted. Kimberly, how you doing? Says, I inboxed you, lady. I had a question. You inboxed me on Facebook. Okay, I have to check it out, because as I said, y'all know I don't be in my inbox, because they're like, boom. There's so much to go through, but I'll check it out. Brother Samuel, how you doing? Hope you're doing well this fine evening. Let's see. Majestic, how you doing? Says, Living Fresh is a grocery store in Forest Park, Illinois, that was started by a black church called Living Word. See, I like to hear stuff like that. And I should say, too, we don't want to blanket the black church. There are black churches that are doing great things for the community. But I think we need to see more of it. And I'm probably not the one to really speak for the black church, because I don't go to church. I do believe in a higher power, obviously, but I don't go to church. And I've been in churches where they've done great things for the community. So we don't want to say that they're all kind of just not doing anything. Share Girl, how you doing? Says, I'm sorry, I refuse to shop with Asians or Arabs with their the rotten, moldy bologna. It says, also, I wish I didn't have to buy anything from the palm color folk. Can't wait till my people get it together. Yeah, we got to do is start small, right? Get together a couple, dollars from everybody. I know there's some place in Detroit, if I'm not mistaken, a whole bunch of people got together and they opened up a black-owned grocery store, right? So that's what we have to do. I think we think maybe it's too big. Sometimes I'm saying we shouldn't. We think we got to open a corporation right now. Like, no. Even if we just opened up a tomato stand, right? Open up a tomato stand, take some of that and then add some grapes to it, some cucumbers. And then we start talking about, okay, now we need somewhere to put these things, because we can't inundate the corner, right? Let's go get a store. So we start thinking like that, And Bakari, hope you're having a great day. Easy says, after taxes on that scratch, they will clear about $2,400. But you know what? That's really nice. Steven says, 5,000 piece puzzle and 33 strategy of war, 48 laws of power, King James Version Bible. you're saying all the different books that people can buy. Oh, absolutely. 48 Laws of Power. Yeah, that book. Somebody was telling me that they read it. I had a conversation with my dad about those type of books. As I asked him a long time about them, he says they're a book of manipulation, and I read them every once in a while on the plane, just to kind of kill time. It is. It's the art of manipulation, if you will. But I get it.
Yeah, and another thing is, what's the book that Phil Scott had out? The Colonizer's Mind, or what was it called?
How to decolonize the mind. I have that book. Yeah, it's a good book.
Yeah, if you guys haven't read that book, that's a game changer too, because we can read all these books about this, that, and how to do this and that, but if you have a colonizer's mindset, you're still going to be in that sphere. So it's a good read.
Yeah, it's a really good read. And Brother Keller says, how can y'all join an MLM quick but won't get life insurance? Boy, he says, you have insurance on your phone, but not your life. Yeah, MLM, I've been on some MLMs before. And yeah, there's a lot of people who, let's say if it's a life insurance MLM, that go about selling life insurance. But then if you say, well, what kind of policy do you have? You don't have insurance on your mama, your daddy, your kids? Well, I'm just out here trying to tell you about it. It's like, man, you need to be practicing what you preach, right? But yeah, there's a lot of people in those things and they don't have the product. I said product that they're trying to sell you. So yeah, just me, how you doing? Says Roe v. Wade. She used a black man, Roe v. Wade. Really? Okay, I'm not really too familiar with all the dynamics of Roe v. Wade. I know
yeah, they use it as an example in regards to a grape. If that would happen, what she's supposed to keep the baby, white supremacy, she's supposed to keep the baby. They use that as a scare tactic to pass Roe versus Wade.
Yeah, they've always done that. They've always used the black man as the boogeyman. Always, so yeah. Okay, yeah, Gloria Steinem. I think she's still with us, right? But yeah, it's come out that she was definitely a CIA, and it's usually what comes out when it comes to some foolishness in our community, right? Uncle G, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Tyrone, what's going on? He says, Donovan, what military stocks do you invest in? Maybe you could put it in the chat if you want to do that.
Yeah, it's not military stock. Anything that has to do with the defense industry. I want you guys to use your common sense. Investing is not hard in the aspect of using your common sense. We have $1 trillion military budget. Even when the military screws up, we give them more money. How many times has our intel of the United States failed? And what's the answer? Give them more money. And it still fails. So again, Boeing, Lockheed, whatever you guys do, anything in the military industrial complex, $1 trillion budget, you can't lose.
Del Monte Green Beans, what's going on with you? Hope you're doing well. Says check the new Nas. Yes, I want to check that out, but I listened to the new De La Soul. It's really good. Really, 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 really good. And they paid homage to Dave a lot,
Yeah. Is Dave on there and some tracks and, late track?
I think maybe they use some things like on the first one, but they pay homage to him throughout the whole CD, right? Or the whole CD. That goes to show how old I am. The whole record, they play homage to him. So yeah. Really
yeah,
good.
well, you don't know nothing about no potholes in my lawn. You're too young for that. You were too much into your BDP Public Enemy phase. I was doing the Daisy age.
I know about the potholes in my lawn, okay? I ran into one not too long ago, not in my lawn, but in the middle of the street, and I cussed that pothole out. Common Man says we must start importing things from the continent of Mother Africa and start to import things to the continent and start to import. That was the idea, right? To Africa. He says, like we have the freedom to do it now. In the past, we didn't. And the other thing too, I'm glad you brought that up because in the Miseducation of the Negro, Carter G. Woodson talked about that. He says how back then this book was written in like the 1930s, something like that. And he talked about how when we went off to speak another language, we went off to speak French or, Spanish or, Deanna, can you get my phone or something like that? But he says you would have thought that we'd learn how to speak some languages of the motherland, right? Because now as we see, everybody else is in the continent and they're getting all these resources, but yet we didn't want to associate with Africa. Go learn the language. We want to go learn French. And them people was not trying to mess with us, So yeah, that's the idea though, Common Man. Shiloh, how you doing? Says how horribly you live and you lead. That's how you get respect while you're alive. Life insurance, the other half of how you get respect after you're dead. There you go. You leave a legacy for your family. You leave them take care of. A life insurance policy is to protect against death, right? So somebody dies and let's say that income is paying for the house, the bills and things like that. Or you might have wanted to send your child to school or pay for a wedding or whatever it is, right? It's there to do that in your absence. It's to be financially there in your absence. So yes, because there's nothing like saying, this sucker didn't leave nothing but debt and drama, you know? So yeah, Easy says, D, if we come together to delineate from other groups, why can't we do the same against the Arab and other groups with stores in our community? Because as I've heard this term a lot, it's easier to punch down. And I'm not saying punching down or fighting with people from the continent is punching down, but because regardless of what we say, they not like us, we do see some likeness in them. And so we feel like they're not a threat. So I could go toe to toe on the internet with the people from the continent, but it's not the people from the continent that's in our neighborhoods that I know of, right? I'm not saying never, but not in our neighborhoods doing the things that everybody else is doing. But we'll organize on the people from the continent, but we won't organize on the Arab and Asians that are doing stuff to us because we, I don't know, we see them, we don't like them, because we think they're not like us, but we actually do those things to them because we do. Because think of the things that we do to each other as Black Americans. So in a sense, it's easier to do it to them. We ain't gonna mess with the Africans no more. And I'm not saying they have not done any things to make us kind of say, well, you might regret that type of thing, but I'm just not about to be dying on the hill of fighting with people from the continent as long as we got people like this dude up in there talking about what you gonna do. I got one in Miami. You ain't gonna shut that one down either. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Tyrone says, not that my sister would ask, but if she asks for a gift, I'm going to tell her to count those principal payments, and there's her gift. There you go, right? Thank you, Tyrone Price. I appreciate that. Unity Strength says, no, we are in delineation phase. Yes, let's delineate, but what we going to do while we're delineating? See, that's the quite, like I said, I'm all for delineation 100%, but I'm not for delineation if we going to just be talking and calling people names. I leave me off of that part of it. When we get over the hump of the name calling and all that, then invite me to the party where we're talking about building a Black store so we don't see another Arab talking about what you going to do. You ain't going to shut me down. Invite me to that delineation part because that's what I'm talking about, right? Let's see. How you doing? Says Africans are not our friends. I totally disagree with that. I totally disagree with that simply because I've been to the continent and they were very friendly, very loving, you know, all that. I would say when we went over there, it was white folks, you know, with their nose up in the air. Now, white folks going to be white folks no matter where they go. But again, I'm not going to have vitriol for, you know, a whole continent when we over here on this continent and white folks kicking your drawers up your ass all day long and then you don't like it. But what you gonna do about it? You ain't gonna do nothing. But again, we gonna organize on the Africans. Africans ain't got no power over Black Americans. They got zero power. And the little bit of power that we perceive them to have, we gave it to them. We gave it to them by the way we voted. And the way we, even now, whether it's the Africans, it's the Caribbeans, whether it's, the, you know, South American brothers and sisters, they are voted into office, right? A lot of us helped them get there. And then we found out like, oh, well, they're not really tied to our struggle, our culture. They, you know, doing for their people. Now we mad. But see, that's our fault because we should have been did the research and be like, oh, okay, you a Haitian sister, you trying to get in office. Are you going to do anything for Black Americans? Or are you going to be doing it all for the Haitian, you know, Americans? And we're seeing the answer to that. So don't be mad at them. Be mad at us. Like sometimes you got to kick your own ass. Have you ever kicked your own ass? If you haven't tried it, it's very liberating. Kick your own ass sometimes. And you say, yeah, don't do that no more. You know? So I hear what you're saying, but I totally disagree that Africans are not our friends. Because there's 54 countries in Africa. And we're saying all of them aren't our friends? Did you ever meet all Africans? Probably not, right? But it's all love. It's all love. African Native says, will your government allow that because they like to suppress Black progress? Yeah, well, and we help them. Mandy, how you doing? Says boycott the businesses. Pretty simple. Yeah. Boycott those businesses and then boycott our own, you know? Our comment says, I love to buy African wood carvings or jewelry, says, or clothing from the continent or Mother Africa, buy, sell, trade as partners. We must stop thinking that white is the only way. Totally. James, how you doing? Says, how are you, TV wife? I am great. How about you? Hope that you're doing well. Brother, and I see Miss Sweetie talking to Donovan. Brother Thundy says, we all have the song. Sing it if you know it. And when he died, all he left us was alone. Yes, Papa was a Rolling Stone. Yes. Sister Shirley says, my mother and father didn't believe in life insurance. They believed in savings. My parents had 10 children. And when my mother died, she had saved $120,000. Yes, but imagine, and people have done that back in the day. But imagine she would have saved $120,000 and she would have paid, something monthly into a policy, maybe $100,000. She could have both. Now, depending on how long she was paying into it, you could do the math. But yeah, we could do both. We could save and get a policy. Yeah.
Yeah, how many of you guys know you don't really have to have insurance? The whole point of insurance was to make sure you cover things, whatever. Do you know you can ride around in a car all day long without insurance, as long as you have the financial responsibility to cover if anything happens? Now, unfortunately, if you ran into a building and the damage that you did is over $100,000, most of us don't have that. But if you're, let's say, a billionaire, you don't have to have insurance. You just have to show proof of, equity or whatever the deal is. The only point of insurance is to cover things, but you technically you don't have to have insurance if you have financial means. So with Wright was saying back in the day before they mandated insurance on people, yeah, if you had savings, you didn't need insurance. If you had enough money, you didn't need insurance for things. You just covered it. But we don't save anymore in our community.
That is absolutely true. You got to pay for it out of pocket or whatever. But the thing about the life insurance is that it does help you leave a legacy. It's how wealthy people leave money. And truth be told, that's a good way to save money in a sense, just depending on what it is. I'm not trying to get too deep into it, tax-free or whatever it is. But very wealthy people, they know that, right? They know that life insurance is a way to, kind of get out of some tax obligations. And they're like, yeah, I can, pay for whatever it is, but why? I can get a life insurance policy. I could put money into it. I won't get too far into it. Depending on what policy it is, I could put money. I can, earn interest and a whole host of things. So wealthy people do that. That is a strategy they use, is what the rich do. They park their money in life insurance, depending on what vehicle, that's what we call it, it is. So I want y'all to look into that, but don't think because I got all this money, this is the way to do it. If that's how you do it, I'm not saying it's not, but wealthy people know that. It's what wealthy people know. They understand life insurance. Like, I could pay for my mama or whatever if they pass away, but I know that life insurance policies do other things as well. So that's what we need to get educated about.
Yes, again, going back to what Donald Trump said to Hillary, I don't pay my taxes because I'm smart.
Yeah. And Carletta says Africa can't get their act together. They sold out the people and gave the white people everything they want and take. Like I said, I'm a Black American, and I'm not about to be speaking about what Africans are doing over there because I've only been over there once, and I liked what I saw. I know I didn't spend a lot of time there, but I want to focus on us because I can't say that Africans can't get their stuff together. And Black Americans, our community looks like, it's disheveled, to say the least, right? It's dilapidated. It's disheveled. We can't decide on this, that, the other. We can't build a grocery store. We can't keep a turkey leg hut because we're going to have shenanigans and a whole host of other things. So I'm not about to be focusing on what they're doing in Africa until we focus on what we do here. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to say I don't care about what they're doing because I care about them. But as I said, I'm not going to care about some of my neighbor house before I care about mine. Like, my neighbors, look at them. Look how they doing this, that, and the other. Why don't they? Nah, because they can say the same thing about me. I'm going to focus on mine.
Yeah, no, Demetrius. See, we've been conditioned to put others before we put ourselves. I get tired of arguing with people who are pro-immigration and they just lost their job and they don't understand why they had to lose their job because you got to pay for the illegal immigration. We're programmed for our own demise, and we don't even realize it. And it is prevalent in the Black community. And ladies, nothing against the ladies because the men are right behind you, but you see a lot of Black women out there championing these. It's Christian and what's this and that, and we should love our neighbors and this, that. No, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. God said, welcome the foreigner when they come into the country legally. Obey Caesar's laws. But again, right now, the biggest group of people who are out of work, have lost their jobs, and are facing eviction are who? Black women, Black people. And why? Look, our good friend Jessica Jackson, right there in Chicago. You guys, I've been telling you guys, pay attention to what is going on in Chicago. Who did they tax? Did they tax the white people who pretty much own the country, double their property tax? No, they taxed all the Negroes, the poor Negroes on the south and east or west side of Chicago. Those are the people with a Black mayor. A Black mayor did this. He's talking about we got to champion our brothers and sisters and help the immigrants and doing all this. If you guys have been watching YouTube, pay attention to what just happened. The assembly or the council, Chicago council, one of the aldermen said, we gambled on the immigrants and we lost. He just said that. You can't put money into the Black community, but you could put money into the illegal immigrants and expect the Black people to pay for the mistake that you betted on. You guys, don't laugh. Pay attention.
Absolutely. And I see a lot of y'all saying, different things. Again, I'm not trying to give advice, but I'm just saying, if you don't have a life insurance policy, you need to really sit down and ask yourself why. Especially if you have a child at 10 days old, you can get the child insured, and, and depending on what policy you get, the insurance policy premium will stay that way until it doesn't need to stay that way for whatever reason that is. Right. So you should just look into it. And there's so many people out there selling life insurance. So get with somebody. If you got to spend some money for Christmas or whatever, do that. African Native says John 3:16. So for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. So basically, I guess you're saying that's the insurance. Yeah. So, if you subscribe to Christianity and all of that, but the Bible also says that money answers all things. You know what I mean? So also talks a lot about wisdom and knowledge and things like that. So, yes, thank you, Jesus, whatever it is, but there's a whole lot of other things in that Bible that talks about money, So yeah, but thank you for that. Let's see. Emma, how you doing? It says the Asians and Arabs are the ones with the money to operate in our communities. Suffice it to say, we do not have the money to do it. I wish we did. Back in the day, we did have a little pool. Well, you know what happened? The false idea of civil rights came and it told us that we didn't need to be together no more. We know that was a job done to get Black dollars into the white community. And we've been that way ever since. Our community, well, I won't say it was the greatest, but we had each other right before all of that. But when civil rights came in, we ran as fast as we could from each other because we believed that we was going to find some colder ice in white folks' community and stores and things like that. And we've been operating that way ever since. And so the other thing is, right after slavery, when our ancestors left those plantations, they didn't have none of what we have. How did they do it? Right? How did they do it? They did it somehow, some way, push, pull, or drag, as my mom used to say. They did it. So if our ancestors could do it with nothing, what's stopping us? So
yeah, and also, if you guys look at the adjusted for inflation, the wealth in the Black community, do you guys realize we have not recovered from the 2008 when a third of Black wealth was stolen in the housing crisis to what's happening right now currently? Do you guys know that our Black wealth in the United States is the same as after the Civil War? That is what it's estimated to be. So those people that got it out of the mud had the same wealth then as we do now. So what is going on? There is a systematic government-sanctioned financial genocide that is being pinpointed to the Black community.
Absolutely. And hey, Brother Stephen, how you doing? Tell your beautiful wife we said hello. And I want to see this comment here. I am Akila K. How you doing? It says, Black people is always saying, I don't want to talk about death. White people are insured at birth. Y'all better cover granny because GoFundMe is not the flex when you all need is $35 a month. And I should say too, because it, becomes a talking point that Black Americans aren't insured. The truth of the matter is we are the most insured. We're the most underinsured, and we're not in the right policy. So back in the day, they would come to you, grandmama's house, hey, we're, Acme Life Insurance Company, and they would sell her something, but they wouldn't sell it to keep up with inflation. So let's say grandma bought a policy in 1980. Well, a funeral might have been, I don't know, $2,500. I don't know. I'm just speculating. But they didn't write it to keep up with inflation. So here we are, whoever the policy was on is surviving. And let's say they leave out of here today. Is $2,500 going to keep up, pay for a funeral? More than likely not. And even in a lot of cases, not cremation. So I say that to say as well, if you know the history of life insurance, a lot of that was done out of racism because white folks, they didn't have a problem selling it to us. They just didn't want to sell us enough because they understood that life insurance left a legacy. It provided for generational wealth. So with that, they're like, we're not going to leave them no generational wealth, even though selling a correct policy to somebody Black would have made them more money. But they're like, nope, because if somebody up and passes away, we don't want to leave them rich. We don't want them to be able to buy what we can't buy. Because believe it or not, life insurance people who sells people is fast, feast or famine, right? So there's a lot to that. We just got to make sure that we get enough. And listen, burial plots is not life insurance, okay? Because you got to pay to close the ground. You got to pay to open it up. You only own the space. It doesn't come with a casket. It doesn't come for embalming. It doesn't come with moving the body. Every time you move the body, you have to pay to move the body. So a lot of Black folks are sold. I'm telling you, because I used to sell life insurance. This because the salesperson a lot of times was writing dirty. Yeah, this plot. Yeah, it's a life insurance policy. So when I sit down with them, oh no, I'm good. I got life insurance, and they tell me what it is. I'm like, that's a hole in the ground. That's what you've been paying on. What? So then, of course, we'd have to go through the whole thing. But yeah, so it's about knowing, asking questions, and knowing. So yeah, but good point. The homie says, I know every one before I formed them in the flesh. So you talking biblical. Capcom, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let me skip down and realize how behind that was. James says, we talking in circles and rich brown people get money and move out of the community. Only time they come back to the community when they donate book bags and shoes. He said, child, please. Yeah, that talented 10th theory. I'm not sure if that's what it entailed. A book bag. I think they were supposed to bring the knowledge and all that back. They didn't for whatever reason. So yeah, I hear what you're saying though.
So Demetri, let me ask you this question in all seriousness. So we're talking all of this stuff and what, what? I believe everybody knows what they need to do in regards to getting to where we got to go. But you and I both know that this system that we live in called the United States of America, capitalistic system, the Black people must be at the bottom for it to succeed. That's the way it was set up to do, right? So having all this knowledge to do all that, like we've said, they will redline us. I'm a firm believer the banks know who a Black person is versus an Asian person versus a Hispanic. There must be some kind of code or symbol that's on the paper, right? So we know all this stuff is going on. We have police officers, Black police officers in place. We have I think there's over 180 Black Congress members or whatever the situation is in Congress as a whole, almost 200 Black Congress members. And yet Black people seem to not get ahead. What is the answer? Because obviously we are not making progress voting in people, because the minute you vote them in, a good example, back to Chicago, you got Lori Lightfoot up out of there, right? Oh, she was terrible. She's this, Beetlejuice, whatever. And the Black folks voted in somebody that was worse than Lori Lightfoot. So what do? We can't seem to get it together politically. We can't seem to get it together social and economically. What do we do?
I have an answer. The Wolfgang Felix, how you doing? Says save humanity from the book worshipers and their commercials. I don't even know what that's about, but how you doing? So redlining all that. Yeah, they're gonna do all that, but you know what? They would not do it if they knew that we were definitely serious about organizing, keeping our money out of their hands. Well, you want to keep on harming us, doing all this stuff to our communities. We're just not going to stop spending money because everybody eats off of the Black community, right? Again, I get it. Protesting, marching, getting out there in the streets, being loud. That is important to some degree, but You can do it from the confines of your home by not putting money into the oppressor's hands. That sends a message loud and clear.
Right. Well, again, I'm going to go back to what I know, and I'm going to tell you guys that Arab-owned store. How do you know it's an Arab-owned store before the people occupy it? If you would go to your planning commission meetings, you would know who's opening up this store, what their background is, where they're from, where they're getting their funding, and all this other stuff. But see, we don't show up to city council meetings until after the fact. Then we want to holler and scream, oh, it's racism. They won't let me in the store. It's twice the amount of money. Do you guys realize a proprietor of a store could put any price he wants on his items, regardless of what Walmart and his competitors are doing? But we don't show up to the planning commission meetings to see what they're buying and purchasing. And even if they are abusing us, how many of us fill out a complaint form to the Better Business Bureau and so on, so on, so forth? We don't do any of that stuff. We just sit and we freaking complain all damn day, but we don't use the systems that are in place to put these people in check and put belt to ass.
Absolutely. Mission Vision, how you doing? Let me go back up to this comment. Brother Black America, how you doing? Says we didn't run from each other. Women ran from the men, 70% divorce rate from women. I mean, I know that's what people would like to believe. I mean, some of that is true, but you know, Black men and women had problems back then too. You know, there was, I will speak from experience. Okay. My mom, I think I could say this, you know, and my grandmother, because they're no longer here, but my grandmother was married to my mom's dad. You know what he decided to do one day? My mom was like 2, 3. He decided that he was going to go to the store and cash his check. And my mom and my grandmother never saw him again. So my mom never knew her dad. She learned of him later. He went off and, you know, had a whole nother family that he stayed with. So I say all that to say, not to, you know, talk bad about my grandfather that I never met. I say that to say that those problems existed even in my mom was born in 1949. So 1951 or whatever, those problems were there. So in that situation, a man ran from his family. Again, I'm not saying it to be divisive, but I just think when we have those conversations, we just, you know what I'm saying? We just blanket it without the levels in it. Those things have always gone on, but we need to start having conversations of how do we fix that? And I'm not blaming men or whatever, but I'm just telling you that us thinking that it's always the women, it's mostly the women. No, there's a lot of people who will tell you why you think Papa Was a Rolling Stone was such a famous song, because a lot of people can resonate with that. Again, I'm not demonizing the brother, the Black father, but you know, I think the blame is even-handed. It's not one side or the other.
Right. And for those guys, for reference, there's an episode of Good Times where James's father came back into the picture. If you guys don't know the backstory of James Evans, his father had left him, and then the father came back, and I think it was a 2-episode part, and the father came back and explained what was really going on. So again, we don't know the story because that's the old school. They take it to the grave. There was no social media that they can just tell all their business. They take it to the grave with them. But there's always two sides to a story. And again, it's even-handed. So again, but I'll say this, they stayed together more so than we do today. I can say that. So that's factual.
African Native says, I don't have a life insurance, but I just work harder and eat healthy to live longer. Yeah, you should do that. I think life insurance is to protect against death, is to benefit the people who you will leave behind. So if you don't have anybody that I guess depends on you or whatever it is, but unless you have a lot of money or whatever it is, I don't know your situation, somebody will have to take care of your final expenses. So, you know, you should work hard and eat healthy anyway. You know, I just think it's wise to protect your life, your children's life. Anybody who will be looking at you, or somebody will say, hey, this person is no longer here, so somebody got to be paying for this funeral, you know, because it's not fun to have to dig in your pocket to pay for a funeral, because what goes through your head is, why didn't have no life insurance, you know? But like I said, I take the phone calls all the time. My mama just passed away. Is she insured? Nah, your mama policy lapsed 3 months ago. Oh, was there anything we could do? No. Once it lapses, it lapses. After the 30-day grace period is lapsed. Then, or they'll say, well, you know, life insurance company, it's a scam and all this other stuff. And it's like, well, I mean, why you didn't make sure your mama was insured? You know? So, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but it's not a bad thing to have. We got Netflix, we got Hulu, we got a whole lot of things. As Brother Kellen said, we'll insure a phone and different things like that, but not insure your life. You know, and in some cases, that phone insurance on the phone, depending on how old you are, how healthy you are, you could pay for a life insurance policy for the, you know, price that you'll pay on those phones for the insurance. So a lot of things could be true. Chris B, how you doing? Says you're at the bottom of your mind. Okay, Jerry, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. MC Fact, what's going on? Says, has the Arab store owner been discussed already? Yep, we discussed at the beginning. I see that we're over time anyway. Rose, how you doing? Says, hey, Dimitri and Donovan, listening while at work. All right, now, don't work too hard. Majestic says they can tell by zip code and area code. Okay. I am Achilles. Say you love Lori Lightfoot. MC Fact says when voting, a quid pro quo approach has to be utilized. Yep, and we need to learn that. What's in it for me, right? More money. How you doing? Says I have a IUL. Says don't know how to use it, but I pray my children benefit from it when I pass. So yeah, with that, have a conversation with the person who wrote it. They should explain that to you. But I do know that it is a life insurance policy with an investment feature. That's basically what I could say about it. So you're paying for the cost of insurance, and then the money that you pay over the cost of insurance will go into some sort of an interest type of, you know, situation. So that's what it's supposed to be doing. But yeah, reach out to your insurance person so they can brief you a little bit more on it. So yeah. Albie Chill, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Miss Sweet says majority of Black women were more concerned about paying rent and their car notes with the holiday money. He says not too many Christmas presents were being purchased. Yeah, you know, and I know we oversimplify that as well. Y'all out there buying presents was Uncle Sugar's money, you know. But yeah, the reality is a lot of those women will probably be in the free gift giveaway or the churches, wherever they're giving presents. So, you know, definitely. Tex, how you doing? Says sorry, but some FBA in this chat aren't real FBA. They're too focused on hating Africans than fighting white supremacists. I think you meant fighting white supremacists. Real BAs. It says talk about building back the community and controlling their assets from everybody. I just leave that at that. Donovan, was you gonna say something?
Yeah, I have to disagree with that. Black people are the only group of people in the African diaspora that fights white supremacy every day. Name me another group of people in the African diaspora that fights white supremacy every day. You can't say wait. You can't say South Africa because they own their country. You can't say Nigeria, they own their country. You can't, you know what I mean? So, you know, when I hear people say that, you know, when Black people don't do this, Black people don't do that, I'm gonna have to disagree with that in general. I know where Dimitri's gonna go with that, but in general, we're the only ones out there that every day we have to fight white supremacy because, again, this system, we're at the bottom and we don't control the system.
So when we're fighting white supremacy, are we Jake Paul or the other dude? Which one are we when we fighting white supremacy?
We're Jake Paul. We keep getting beat down, but we're fighting.
No, but I was about to say a bad word, but I'm not, right? Because I hear people say that, and every time, and I know y'all gonna get mad at. Please don't get mad at me. Just hear me out. When I hear people rattle that off, I in my mind be wanting to say, "Shut up." What you mean we fight and wait on when that fight white supremacy? Don't tell nobody you showing up to a fight and getting your ass beat. You know what I'm saying? Tell people you showing up to a fight and you whoop their ass. Excuse me for being so animated. But we fighting white supremacy. Stop telling people that. You know what I mean? You fighting and getting rope-a-doped. Black Americans getting rope-a-doped. So you showing up to the fight, you underweight, you in the wrong class, you didn't train, you ain't eating right, you ain't, looking at the video studying your opponent, you showing up and getting boo-boo, you're getting bink-binked, you're getting boo-bopped, you're getting all of that, and you keep talking about we the only one, not you, Donovan, because I heard a lot of people say that, and I'm like, what are you saying? What are you saying? We're the only people that show up to fight white supremacy. And do what? I show up to the playground every day and I show up to fight, and then I go home and my ponytails are all over the place. Mom is like, so what happened? I showed up to fight and I got my ass beat. Right? So we need to learn.
Wait, what was that guy Jamie Foxx played? Toothless Johnson. Remember the boxer? Should have got my ass whipped.
Black Americans are all Otis. Okay? We Otis or we Dragonfly Jones. That's who we are. Right? And we getting knocked in the taco. Stop saying that. Stop saying that unless we saying Black Americans are the only one that fight white supremacy and win. But to show up and do what we ain't, we suck. And I'm a Black American. I can say that. I've been a Black American since I was pushed out my Black mama. Okay? So I could say that. But stop saying we fighting. We're not doing a good job at it. You're just showing up, you know, like you ever see people swing and do the windmill? You miss it.
We're windmilling.
You miss it.
Yeah, Carl the Tooth Williams, Thunder said. But yeah, but when I say that as being such a large group of Black in the diaspora in America as a large group, we are constantly fighting the oppressor, right? In whatever context that is. These other groups, they own their countries. We're the only group of people that we have no say-so of the system. So, but I agree with you, Demetria. Carl the Truth Williams.
We ain't got no say-so over the system, but we got to say so of what we do in our community. But I every time I hear that, I just want to, as I've heard it say one time, it just run me up a wall. When we the only one that's fighting white supremacy. Is like, if you would just listen to what you just said, because I'm not going to get in no fight unless I know I can win, right? Most of the time. I don't be getting in the ring with, you know, the Jolly Green Giant or Attila the Hun or anybody I know going, bink. I'm just saying. Arson, he says to Don, the way the system is set up, but to place those unfamiliar with its loopholes at the bottom, these just happen to be Black. He says, and it's satisfying to the rest. Best way out is economic strategy. Yeah, I totally agree with you. You know, Scoop, how you doing? Says illegal immigration has always hurt our communities. We focus way too much on being there for everyone else, while no one gave a damn about what what we were and what we're going through. Yeah, they're not supposed to. They're supposed to come over here and give a damn about them, just like we're supposed to give a damn about us. They're not going to, you know. So yeah. Common Man says, Demetria, have you ever tried to find your grandfather using DNA? There may be more to the story. We did find him. He's dead now, obviously, right? As my grandmother was born in 1927, so he's probably born around that time. My mom did find him. She never did get a chance to meet him, but she learned that he had a bunch of siblings. She had, you know, a bunch of siblings and things like that. And so, of course, that didn't help her growing up and finding him and discovered, you know, because of course you'll always have that as a child. Why did you stay with that family? You didn't come back to try to find me. Of course, she had, you know, a great stepfather and things like that, who was a dad to her. But so, yeah, I just, you know, told that story because I know it gets oversimplified sometimes, you know, but it was a lot going on. And believe it or not, as I always tell y'all, both of my grandmothers were domestics. They had men, but in a lot of cases, they couldn't afford not to work, you know, couldn't afford at some, you know, times for my grandfathers to just go to work. And that's true for a lot of women in our community. So I'm just kind of putting that out there. Jerry, you say, we were taught that growing up, life insurance policies with Black insurance, the door did. Yeah. And there were, I don't know how many life insurance companies there are, but Great Western, I think a Golden West, I think it was in California, was there for a long time. And I know it has some issues. So I don't know if it's defunct now, but that was one of them. Brother Thunder says, what happened to Black TV shows? We had positive family shows back then, like the Jeffersons, Family Matters, Good Times, Fresh Prince, Different World. They didn't want us to. I think Cosby was probably the wake-up call for those people who make those shows. Oh, yeah, we don't want these Negroes going to college and having Black pride and feeling good about themselves. We want them to stay with the Jeffersons and Good Times with the woe is me. We about to be getting up out the ghetto and then James died. And then, you know what I'm saying? They want us to stay with the hope, but never get out of the situation that we were in. So that's what happened to them. Thomas, you say KKK full of, yeah, to say the least. African Navy says you agree with Donovan. Okay. Just kind of reading some of the comments. Yeah, logical. Think how you doing? Says we better get our tails whipped, looking like Jake Paul trying to fight white supremacy. So we be getting our tails whipped. Yeah, I'm saying we were we all at once. That's fighting white. Are we winning? Let's talk about when we winning. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not going to be bragging about getting my ass whooped by somebody I showed up to fight.
Well, according to the Democrats, which most black people follow, Jasmine Crockett and them, we winning. I'm reclaiming my time. I'm sassy girl. All of that. You know what I mean? We're winning. I'm running for the Senate because he's the only one talking about me. That is, Demetra, that is the worst political advice you can give a candidate, where the campaign is around I rather than the people that she needs to vote for her. It's gonna be a nightmare, you guys.
Yeah. Dearness, how you doing? Says we black people have more power than we realize. It's the reason we are kept divided and warring with each other, because the system of white supremacy knows once we join forces and forgive each other, the game of keeping us at the bottom is over. Yep. So they got to keep on throwing things in there for us to argue about and fight over, false perceptions of things we ain't really doing. Yeah, Gloria, Martin Lawrence, right? He paid a whole lot of characters that got their ass whooped. Junior Doug, how you doing? Says my sister, your voice matters. Well, I appreciate that. If you're speaking to me, I really appreciate that. Thank you. Thunder says I want the tooth, the whole tooth, and nothing but the tooth. You're a liar, and the tooth ain't in you. Renwig says we are very distracted by our oppressor. We need to ignore them and get our stuff together. Chris B says black Americans are so free they don't know what to do. Are we? I don't know. Are we free? Jacoby says, what's your grandfather? Yes. Was my grandfather in the Korean War? My grandmother was, his name, Leroy Franklin. No, oh shoot. It just skipped. I don't want to lie. I want to say his name was Thomas. No, don't give me the lie. It'll come to me. Last name Austin, nevertheless. Okay, Austin. But yes, my grandfather was in the Korean War, went off to the Korean War and came back with a Korean family. So yeah. Let's see. Shane, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. I just got to skip down because I just looked at the time. Brother Raven, how you doing? Says black people getting reparations passed in San Francisco by supervisor for black residents of the city, but it's a trap because the human resource community of San Francisco is made up of 4 Mexicans, 2 whites, and 1 black, which will have strings and other nonsense attached. The black people of Frisco, should attach to the group which has been fighting for reparations for all black Californians. And you know what that's going to look like. Well, it's going to be all the people. Yeah. So it's like, let us know when y'all writing some checks. There you go, Donovan. City Girl Senator Jazz is crazy. Common Man says today there's only 1 black character as a principal in 99% of the white shows. There are no more black shows. However, you watch it. I don't watch TV really much at all. Some things here and there, but not much. Brother Sam says, I remember Reverend Jesse Jackson saying winning grand, then Minister Farrakhan saying a few were winning, but the masses are losing. There you go. And if Dr. Claude Anderson say that's exceptional, right? Exceptional Negro. It's like, yeah, but what about the rest of us? You know? About Barbara, how you doing? He says, we are so overly obsessed to be chosen. We are so overly blessed to be chosen by the Most High God. Absolutely. Kenny, how you doing? Says Crockett knows black people don't read and have no interest in politics. Black people vote for personality. Yeah, we got to stop doing that. We have to really stop doing that and ask efficient questions. Rich says melanated black Americans, y'all know y'all need healing centers. Yep. Hospitals, a lot of land, replenish the soil, but good quality housing in them. Yeah, we need all of that, right? We focus on that and not the other stuff as much. I'm not saying we don't focus on the things outside of our community, but I'm not, like I said, I'm not about to be focusing on everybody else more than I focus on myself. You know what I mean? So yeah. Thunder said, homie, don't play that. Common Man says that's the game. So yeah, Donovan, you have any parting words before we leave?
Yes. Again, don't forget to download the African Diaspora News Channel app. This is T'Challa. That's Misty back there. Had him for years. Misty's the oldest, 17 years old. She's still going strong. But again, we all have heard these ideas over and over again. We've got Black people in positions to make change and do all these things. When are we going to start holding the people that look like us accountable? Don't get mad because the CBC is full of Caribbean first generation Americans that are doing for their people. What is the number one agenda for the CBC this year in the congressional year? Immigration. We got to stop electing these people that are supposed to represent us, and then they get in there and then they don't. How many of you guys think Brandon Johnson is gonna win another term? I think he's going to be out of there that quick. We need to let them know they work for us and not the other way around. We can't let them sit there and just enrich themselves, enrich their families, and then our neighborhoods suffer. You know, this is going on, that's going on. And I'm not going to beat the bush or anything like this, but in my city, we just had to get our streets paved. Guess whose neighborhood got their street paved? Number one. Right over here. Right over here. Why? One of the reasons why is because I show up to city council when I need to show up and let them know what is going on. And again, you don't have to be there physically. We're in the digital age. You go get the agenda. You can send an email to the city clerk and to your council member, copy your council member and copy the city attorney in, copy the mayor in. It's public record. It has to go in there and let your voice be heard. But no, we're too busy worried about going to the club, going on a cruise, gonna go do this. And then we wonder when they set the weed shop right on the corner from where you live, then you want to get all upset and go crazy. Look at Chicago, you guys. That is a brand new blueprint of how quickly they are moving to gentrify Black people out of our neighborhoods. How do you expect the poor side of Chicago to pay the majority of the taxes? How do you do that? They barely tax the white folks. And if you think it's not going to happen to your city, keep not showing up to your city council meetings, and then you're going to find out. There's a story of a lady named Miss Jackson. And Demetra came to my city council meeting one time, and we sat there, and Miss Jackson came in there and was raging holy hell for nothing. The decisions had already been made. She's after the fact. They just let her speak and said, next citizen, come on up, and nothing was done on her behalf. Tip O'Neill, 10-year Speaker of the House in the 1980s under Ronald Reagan, a Democrat, always said, politics is local. These people come from somewhere. Jasmine Crockett was in the Texas Assembly for a few years before she went to Congress. They come from somewhere. Stop rewarding these politicians that don't have your interests at stake. I'm going to leave it right there.
Absolutely. And thank y'all so much, everybody, for all that you've done. You commented, you liked, you subscribed, moderators, most definitely. But yeah, you know, what Donovan said, we have to be cognizant of who we're voting into office. And if we're voting in people in office that are doing harm to the Black community, then we need to stop doing that. Make them one term. I hope that Brandon Johnson is a one-term mayor because he has shown who he is more loyal to. And then in regards to the Arab guy at the beginning of the story with the liquor store, I mean, prove him wrong. Prove him wrong. Like you said, in a sense, y'all ain't gonna shut me down. What y'all gonna do? You ain't gonna do nothing, right? Prove him wrong. Prove him wrong by not going in there. That brother shouldn't even have to make that video. He shouldn't even have to say, look, this is how, because I'm pretty sure most people go in there and know how they feel. I'm sure that's not the first time he done showed his behind to them. But he knows the nature of Black folks. He probably be like, I charge $5 a gallon tomorrow. And what you gonna do? You gonna come up in here and buy this water. That's what you gonna do. So prove him wrong. Greater Good, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. And African Native, thank you so much for becoming a member for 11 more months. It is much appreciated. Listen to Black Media. Yep. Tahada Hada, he says, are we getting a special Christmas or Christmas Eve broadcast? Not Christmas Eve, because I will be en route. I'll be traveling. But I will be on African Diaspora News Channel tomorrow, God willing. Tuesday, Wednesday morning. right? So y'all can join me there. And of course, we'll be here, Donovan and I, tomorrow evening, again, God willing. So Al, you said 60 Minutes is doing a show on, or today on Rob Reiner. Okay, so big time director and actor and all that. Yeah, of course, y'all heard about what happened with him. Nikki, how you doing? Says we first must check our lineage before you vote. You says their lineage rather before we vote, especially if they're voting based on color. I totally agree with you. So anyway, love and appreciate every last one of y'all. Y'all have a great rest of your evening, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace.